What's going on, guys? It's PokePond back with another video for you. Lots to talk about today. As always, we're doing a full price analysis of all the sealed product, everything going on in the market with Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet. We pay attention to all the prices so that you don't have to. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start off this episode like we usually do, talking about Destined Rivals, just because Destined Rivals is in such a unique position in the hobby at the moment where it's still such a recent set to come out. It's 2 sets back now, but it's just continuing to climb up in price, which a lot of people really didn't think that it would do. If you're interested in Destined Rivals, 3 days ago I actually made a deep dive video on it, so go back and check that out, my last video on the channel, if you want to see an even more detailed analysis of Destined Rivals. Perhaps check that out after this video if you're wanting to buy into Destined Rivals. I would highly recommend you check that out. Anyway, let's have a look at what's going on with the prices. So last week we were seeing an average price of around about $302, which is crazy that a new set has broken out over $300, and it's had a really strong run over the last couple of weeks. There's a few reasons why I think that is, mainly because a lot of it's getting ripped. There's a lot of demand for people to buy the set as well, and generally there's just not a lot of the booster boxes around. A lot of them are being broken down and sold individually as packs by like LCSs, or they're just being bought and taken off the market by seal collectors, or they're just being opened full stop and being ripped open. So I've really not seen that many booster boxes out there in the wild with this release, and like I said, I believe that's because a lot of LCSs that have access to the booster boxes are just breaking it down into packs because they really struggled to get the amount of packs that they needed for the demand of their customers, so they would much rather on launch days break it down into single packs and spread the product around a little bit more. I feel like that's really what's been happening. Now I know a lot of people are saying, yeah, but Destined Rivals in my state or my town is sat on the shelves. Yeah, but can you go into a big box store and buy a booster box? That's the difference. You might be able to get a booster bundle from a vending machine, or you might be able to see some blister packs or something like that. But as far as seeing actual booster boxes on shelves, there's really not that many around, and we're really starting to see upward pressure on the market. Now a lot of people as well are saying, yeah, but just wait, it's in print for like 2 years, blah de blah, it's going to drop down to MSRP. I personally don't think Destined Rivals will ever drop down to MSRP. Even if they print it into the ground, I don't think it's going to drop to MSRP. There's just far too many people that are behind this set. It's clearly going to be a top 3 set of Scarlet and Violet long term, if not the best set. So I think a lot of people are FOMOing into it now. I'm continuing to buy even at this price point. I have quite a good position in it, and do you know what, even when I bought in at a much lower price than this, people told me I was mad then. So you have to be careful, because at any point you buy into any market, people are going to say that you're wrong, and that's just because we all have our own opinions. No one really knows what's going to happen in this market. All I know is that for a fact there's a lot of hype and a lot of demand on this set. So to me, I can only see prices going up. Yes, I do think there'll be reprints because it's such a long window until it's out of print, but I don't think it's going to affect the price that massively. Especially if you're willing to hold for the long term, I think you'll do absolutely fine buying in at these price points. So 302 last week. Well, technically last week was the 26th. So 24th to the 26th were 285 a box, and we're seeing last sales now of 318. So let's just calculate that out. 318 to 285. That's a $33 price rise in the last 7 days. Let's do a percentage on that divided by 285. That's an 11.5% price rise between the average price last week, 7 days ago, and last sale today on TCG Player. 11.5%. And people said we were mad promoting it last week to buy in. So there you go. It's continuing to go up. Make your own decision on it. Honestly, I'm happy to potentially pay more for it now. If it reprints and the price drops, great, I'll buy more of it. I really don't mind that. I'd actually like to see that. I'd like to be able to buy in for under $300 a box. Last sale in the US, $295. Last sale in the UK, £302, £305 all in. That's an all-time high in the UK. If you guys are wondering why I'm doing US and UK prices, I am based in the UK, but I follow all of the US market as well. So we look at both of them and what's going on in the global market as well, if crazy things are happening. So hopefully wherever you are based in the world, you'll get something out of this channel. The whole point of this channel is to just give you the data week on week. Every Saturday we tell you exactly what's going on, where all the big movers and shakers, the winners and the losers are with all the seal product, because it's a lot to keep on top of. But instead you can just come tune into this video once a week and I'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. So make sure you subscribe to never miss an opportunity. Let's have a very quick look at White Flare and Black Bolt ETBs, just because it is the most recent set out and it's been out for a little while now, so we're starting to see it settle down, and we're seeing the same with White Flare and Black Bolt, that once the hype is gone, it's really starting to come back down to earth with the pricing reducing back down a bit. We did call that we expect to see MSRP for White Flare and Black Bolt, and it looks like we're heading in that direction pretty soon. Price slowly coming down. White Flare last sale $80 on TCG Player. Last sale of Black Bolt on TCG Player $80. I'm not going to have a look at the secondary markets. I think that you can get a good deal because there will be people dumping them. You can probably get it a little bit under $80, but personally I'd just wait. I think you'll have plenty of opportunity to buy into this set for MSRP or below, given a little bit of time. Let's have a look then at Prismatic Evolutions. Prismatic Evolutions is one of my other favourite sets of the Scarlet and Violet era, and it's doing pretty well. It's holding at around about 100 to 105. People thought with these Costco reprints, well, not really Costco reprints, but the Costco 2-pack bundles, that this was really going to bring down the Elite Trainer box price, and it has had an effect. But we've been very sort of vocal on this channel to say that anything around about $100 or sub $100 is just going to get bought out straight away, and the price is just going to go back up. It's temporary, that it's going to be around about this $100 range or below. Last sale is actually really cheap. That's the lowest I've seen it in a long time, at $93. But then that is from today as well. But then if you look at two other sales from today, they're averaging 105. We've got a 103 and a 107. So considering how much product has dropped worldwide, because it's happened in the UK as well, of these prismatic 2-pack bundles where you get the Elite Trainer box and the booster bundle, the price really hasn't moved that much, not nearly as much as people were expecting it to. I mean, time will tell, but for me it's a buy-in at this price. We're just getting a discount on it. Yeah, it might go down a little bit more if Costco continues to churn them out, but I think all of this is just temporary. As soon as that stops happening and it goes out of print, it's just going to shoot up like a rocket. I think it's going to follow sort of 151 in the kind of direction that has gone. So for me, I'm still buying into Prismatic quite heavy. You might see on the shelf, here we go, 2-pack bundle. I put it on the shelf there just so that people can see it. That's what I bought this week. That's all I've bought this week, to be honest. I'm doing some interesting things with my collection at the moment. I briefly mentioned in the last episode, you'll notice things have really slimmed down on the display behind me. There's a few reasons behind that. What I've done is I've taken some of the more valuable items, and especially all of my Destined Rivals booster boxes, and put them into my storage box display. My storage box of... It's not a display. Just my storage boxes that are in a cupboard in the back. The reason why is because I wasn't comfortable having them out on display, because they weren't protected, they weren't in any kind of casing or anything like that. I didn't want to, and I feel so much safer with them in storage boxes. If I just lived in normal accommodation, then that would be fine. I would be quite happy to have them out. But what I haven't told you guys is I live in an apartment block, and my neighbour above me has flooded my flat 3 times in the last year just by leaving the taps on. I think they've got some kind of condition or something. The first few times it wasn't too bad. It only sort of like leaked into like a utility laundry cupboard room. The last time was horrendous. They were in the flat as well and they didn't notice. And I had leaking in 3 rooms, water coming down through the ceiling. So I'm like, okay, it didn't affect this room, luckily. But it's just made me really, really nervous about what I've got out. And my stuff in storage boxes, although it isn't immune to water, obviously if stuff poured down on top of it, it'd be bad. It's a lot safer in there. So that's why my display has changed a little bit. And there's some more sort of less valuable stuff, more sort of like just display-y sort of Elite Trainer boxes. So that was a quick little tangent there. Let's have a look then at prices for last sold on eBay US for Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer box. So last sale is $104, but then that's on a buy it now, and we're seeing auction prices of just a hair under 100. And this is what we expected to see. We expected to see things run up to around about that $100 range and not really sell for much below that. And I think that that will continue to happen because people like me and a lot of people on this channel will see it for $100 and be like, that's a bargain. It's a very psychological price, just like how sealed product can struggle to break through psychological barriers like $200, $500, $1,000. Also, you can see the opposite and you can see it act as support as well. So anything below $100 then seems like a bargain, so a lot of people buy it out. I think it's just a bargain to buy in at this price. If you're willing to hold it for 2+ years, at a minimum, then I think that any potential for it to drop down to $90, $85, if it really does go that low, that's $10, $15. That's going to mean nothing in 2 years, 3 years time because the price is just going to be so much higher in my opinion. Let's have a look then at last sale in the UK. Bang on £100. There's another one here going for 103 all in. That is basically where market has been. Market has been about 105 to 110. So we've really not seen much of a reduction in price considering Costco did a massive load of those 2-pack bundles over the last week onto the market. Talking of the 2-pack bundles, here's the last sale in the UK, £145. So although we're getting a bit of a discount on this, I mean, really, I would put a value of like 100 to 105 on the Elite Trainer box at the moment, and the bundles are going for like £50. So really, you're getting like a £10 saving, £15 saving, probably like 7 to 10% saving by buying the 2-packs. I actually sniped mine for 135, so I got an even better deal. I think that's one of the cheapest that I've seen on the market at all. That was just because there was a bit of a race to the bottom when they got released and everyone was just trying to flip it and scalp it for extra money. For 135, that's a great deal. I'd happily buy in at 145. Prismatic is a great set. The booster bundle's great. The Elite Trainer box is great. And you can get a little bit of a discount by buying these 2-pack bundles. So I'm quite happy to buy into these. I think they're a great product. What I didn't really think about until I actually received one is that it's actually really good, these 2-pack bundles, not just because of the price point, but because of the protection that you have around it as well. Because not only are these products individually sealed like they normally would be, they also have a seal around the outside to keep them in the 2-pack bundle. So it's just that extra layer of protection that's really nice. I mean, if you really did rip the seal or damage the outside of the 2-pack bundle, you could still just open it up, split it down, and then you've got 2 perfectly good sealed products as well. And they're going to have most likely perfect seals just because they've been protected. So I'm really happy that I've picked up this product, and I would definitely look at buying some more, particularly if I see the price coming down a little bit. In the US, they are going for $174, but you'll see that I had to do quite a lot of scrolling to find one single one on its own. And that's because Costco, I believe, has a 2-pack or a 2-box maximum that you can buy. So most people are buying the 2 boxes and dumping them together, and then you're actually getting it for a little bit cheaper. So it's actually hard to find a single one in the US, but you're seeing good deals on people selling 2 of them at once. So look at this, 310 on a buy it now from 3rd of July. Why is that 3rd of July? Has eBay done something weird with the date there? Anyway, let's scroll down to another one. 31st of July, so 3 days ago, 320. So you're paying 160 for the 160 each for that, which is a pretty decent deal if you ask me. Anyway, let's have a look, interestingly, quickly at the booster bundles, because although the ETBs have come down in price a tiny bit, the booster bundles are still holding a decent value at about $10 a pack. So $60 for the last sold on eBay US. There's another one there going for $64 with a little bit of postage. Another one going for $60. So I think the Elite Trainer box has been a little bit more susceptible to price changes from these packs coming out. And I think that's because, am I right in saying you also had like a Sam's Club bundle which had a Pokeball and an Elite Trainer box? So maybe more Elite Trainer boxes are going onto the market than bundles. I just thought it was interesting to have a look. And in the UK, similar. So like 58 quid for a prismatic bundle all in. There's one going for like 52. I've been paying around about 51 to 52 for prismatic bundles. I like to buy a few at a time, even if it's the same price, just because I don't really want to mess around with buying one. I'd rather spend like £200 because that's about the comfortable sort of financial level that I like buying into for a price point, because that's usually what I pay around about for a booster box, around about that £200 range. So if I'm buying prismatic bundles, which I am at the moment, then I like to spend about £200. And rather than buy like lots of little ones and worry about lots of bits of post and single ones coming from here and there and postage and stuff like that, it's a bit awkward while I'm in an apartment block. I'd much rather just buy like a 4-pack or something. Even if I'm not saving any money by buying the 4-pack, I'd just much rather do that than have more sales, basically. Let's have a look then at Journey Together. Journey Together, the price chart has been broken on TCG Player for quite a long time. People were memeing on it in the comments, like making bets on how long this chart was going to be broken for. It's been broken for nearly 3 months now, so that's crazy. But we could still have a look at last prices. And I was actually quite surprised when I saw what was going on with the Journey Together prices over the last couple of weeks. It is creeping up there in value. Last sale is 3 of them sold for $260, and if we scroll down to last week, which was the 26th, it was at $250, and $250 surprised me. So it's starting to pull ahead a little bit in the market. So it's up $10 over the last 7 days, which is interesting, and that puts it ahead of quite a few sets. It puts it ahead of like Surging Sparks and stuff like that. So interesting. We're keeping an eye on Journey Together. We hold a little bit of it, but it's more just like a speculative play. Like, I know in the long term it'll do fine. It's a long-term play. Last sale in the US for the enhanced version, $174, which I don't think is too unreasonable a price. And last sale in the UK for the non-enhanced is $167 with some postage. If you go all in, that's like $171. That's like $5 all in over retail price. So really not too bad. And the enhanced version is really starting to pull ahead, but they are a lot rarer here in the EU, going for $215 all in. Really pulling ahead, that enhanced version in the EU. But I think in the US they're a lot more common, so maybe that's why they're not pulling ahead quite as much, but we'll see. Interestingly, the new Mega Evolution set is going to be doing enhanced versions of their booster boxes with a box topper as well, so we'll have to see how that plays out now that Pokemon Center is, I guess, continuing to run with that trend. Interesting. Surging Sparks, let's have a look at Surging then. 241 on the average price last week, and it's basically the same. It's up like $3, $4. So like a 2%, less than a 2% swing, which is basically nothing. That's just normal market activity between buys and sells. So pretty much a flat week for Surgeon Sparks, but it's holding decently. If we zoom out on the chart, it's holding and has been holding at around about this price since around about December of last year. It obviously peaked at around March time, going for a little bit more average price. It maxed out at around about 261 on the average price, and we're at 245 now, so it's within very close striking distance, within 16 bucks of its all-time high, and it's poised in a good place to have some upward pressure. It just depends what happens with the reprints over the next year or so, but I do think Surgeon Sparks is a decent set to buy into. I only own one of them at the moment, but if I see a deal on one, then I'd definitely be happy to get another one into my collection, particularly if the price comes down a little bit. I did pay retail price for mine, so I got very lucky. I got it from a Pokemon Center restock, so very lucky on that one. Let's have a look at last sales in the US then. $260. So it's right at there at that Journey Together price, which is interesting. Both of them at that 260 mark. Just ignore this one for 189. That is a Spanish box, but that caught me out when I was loading up my tabs. I'm like, 189. That's cheap, but it's a Spanish version. So be careful when you're buying. If something looks super cheap, just double check the listing to make sure that it's not like in another language or something like that, because they do sell for a little bit less, the international ones, in most cases. Let's have a look at the UK then. 218 all in, 218.50. Yeah, pretty much at an all-time high here in the UK as well for a decent set. We started looking at Stellar Crown a little bit more. No one's talking about Stellar Crown. It's very much got quite negative connotations in the community. People think it's not a very good set. I think it's not a bad set. I own a little bit of it as well, long-term play, and it's holding at an all-time high, which is why we're starting to look at it. It's been creeping up a bit over the last month or two, and it's holding right at its all-time high. It's very poised, and sometimes making a play on these boxes is about putting away the stuff that not everyone else is putting away, and I guarantee there's a lot less people putting away sort of Stellar Crown than they are Surging Sparks, or they are even like Destined Rivals and stuff. Now I'm not saying it's going to perform better than Destined Rivals, because I don't think it will, but if we zoom out a couple of years later, I don't think many people will be buying well, not many people will be buying them. I don't think many people will be putting away Stellar Crown, and there is always a market for every set. Even if the sets aren't that desirable, there is always a market, and there are always people buying. You can go to the least popular sets of, say, Sword and Shield, your Vivid Voltage, your Battle Styles, although they haven't done well considering how long they've come out compared to other sets around them, there's always people buying them. So I do think that if you zoom out a few years later, Stellar Crown will be going for a lot more than what it's going for now, and it's poised to have a pretty good year, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a creeper set, and I think it's going to catch a lot of people out because no one's got their eye on it. I quite like it as a set. I'm happy to have a box or two of it just as a speculative long-term play. I'm quite happy to have that. It's at 225 last sold. It's not really changed since last week. It's maybe up 1%, 2%. Like I said, that's nothing. We consider that a flat week. That's just normal market fluctuations. But we're keeping an eye on Stellar Crown just because of where it is. Let's look at the 1 year chart. Look, over the last year, it's up 109%. That's not too shabby. Over the last 6 months, it's starting to have a bit of a run. Nothing major, but you can pick this up cheap at the moment. You can pick this up really cheap. $235 last sold in the US. I don't think it's going to get reprinted either. Although Pokemon Company always gets one set wrong. Every era, they really overprint a set that doesn't need to get overprinted. And maybe they'll just out of nowhere print Stellar Crown and do a massive wave. Stellar Crown, where there's a lot less demand on it, it's a lot more volatile to a reprint. Like, if you get a big reprint now on Destined Rivals, it's not going to affect the price as much as if you got the same size reprint for Stellar Crown. Just because Stellar Crown doesn't have the same demand behind it. But if Stellar Crown gets no more reprints and that's it, I could see it creeping up there in the background. I don't think it will be a fast growing box. I don't think it's going to spike up there. But it's not a bad play in my opinion. If you want something a little bit different, you want to diversify your collection a little bit, I like Stellar Crown. I like it as a set. Let's have a look then at last sale in the UK. Look, £172. If you go all in, that's 176. That is exactly £10 over retail price. And that was from 3 days ago. But look at this, same day, 30th, 151, 154 all in. That's less than retail you can still pick this up for. I mean, people are always saying, oh, MSRP gang, if anything's MSRP, it's an instant buy, all of that. Are people buying Stellar Crown? Are those same people buying Stellar Crown? I don't think they are. Like, most of them aren't. You can, right now in the UK, you can get deals on it because people are dumping it. 151. There's no way they didn't lose money on that. There's no way. Yeah. Sub MSRP in the top of the craziest hype cycle I've ever been a part of. So, there you go. We always point out plays on this channel, despite how unpopular they might be. We'll let you know everything that we see, any plays in the market. I don't keep them to myself. We share everything. Because to be honest, I would never see a play and just keep it back like, oh no, that's my play, I won't talk about it on the channel. I would never do that. This channel is all about just giving you guys as much information as possible as I see it. I'm giving this to you live every single 7 days. Sometimes, like, in the week I had to make an extra video on Destined Rivals just because the prices go mad on it. But yeah, there we go. Last sold on 151 Elite Trainer boxes. 151 has been on a massive monster run at the moment for the Elite Trainer boxes. Last week it was at 271 on the average price chart, and look, the volume's going up as well. 271 last sales 300, and it's lots of sales for 300 as well. Look, 3 boxes for 300, another 3 for 300, 300, 300, 300, 300. Is that 300 now? I think we can agree on TCG Player. So it's gone from 271 to 300. That's $29 price rise. That's over 10%. I can work it out if you want. 29 divided by 271. Yeah, 10.7% price rise on 151 Elite Trainer boxes, and it's just doing that week on week at the moment. It's an absolute monster at the moment. Everyone's kind of accepting in the market that it's a monster and it's probably not getting reprinted now, so we just see that the price is only going to go in one direction from here, basically. Last sold in the US 250. However, that's a new listing. Buy it. New listing tag on a buy it now. So someone just snap bought that, and I'm not surprised because on the same day, another buy it now went for 278, basically 280, and then someone lists one for 250. Sorry. $30 less. Of course you're going to buy that out straight away. If you know the market, and I say this every week, if you know the market and you know your prices, then when you see this go up for 250, you can just snap call. You can just buy it straight away because you know it's a great bargain. How much did this person save actually? So if it's 278, they saved $29. 29 on 278. It's a 10% discount on a dump. Like, there's always deals to be had, even on the most popular stuff right now. Keep an eye on eBay. You can definitely snipe some good deals at the moment. A 10% discount on last sold. Not even like market or like speculative where market should be. Literally, it's the last sold. You could have seen that listed or had a stock alert or whatever set up. See it go up for 250. Just quickly look. Oh, what was the last sold? Oh, 280. Yeah, of course I'm buying in at 250. And look at this. The PC ETB is going on an insane run. Every time I look at it, it's gone up. Look at this. $830 on an auction. But look at this buy it now for the same day. These are both from yesterday. So $830 on an auction. Look at this. 900. And basically $1,000 a box for the 151 PC ETB. The world has gone mad. There's no way that I would pay $1,000 for a 151 PC ETB. But people will. People are definitely FOMOing into that one. Let's have a look then at last sale in the UK. 300, which has gone up a lot. 300 is definitely an all-time high for the Elite Trainer box. These were like, I want to say like 220 a month ago. Not even that, like 3 weeks ago, these were like 220. They weren't even. They were like 180. I think I did a deal with someone for like 180 like a month ago for one in trade. So that's kind of crazy that they're 300 right now, with the PC ETB going for 516 in the UK. Let's have a look at Paldea Evolved then. Paldea Evolved has dropped down a little bit in price. It looks like 358, but it's really not. So 358, last sale like 347. When we have a look at eBay though, last sale 358. That's like all-time high, 358. It really is. So it hasn't dropped down in price that much. It's just had like a flat week. Last sale in the UK, they did drop down a little bit in the UK over the last 2 weeks. It went from like 310, 315, and then it dropped down to like this 280 range, and then people have just been buying them out. I presume a lot of you guys on the channel have been buying these out because they are a decent buy at sub 300. Look, 270 bought out, 280, and then last sold 317. So we're right back up to where it was. I think I've got one listed for like 320. So it's like £3 off. But I listed it for 320 when they were like at 280. Just because this is one of the things, like, put the price up that you want. Don't, if you're not in a rush to sell either, just don't worry about, oh, they're 280 now, I've got to sell for 280. If you're not in a rush to sell and you want to sell for 320, the reason why I wanted to sell for 320 is because after fees, then I'm at like 300, and I think 300 is a very fair price point for a box that I bought for like 160. It's not that I don't believe in Paldea Evolved at all. Again, let's talk about personal circumstances. Everyone's personal circumstances are different. The reason why I'm selling Paldea Evolved now is because I'm selling off a lot of my collection at the moment. Pretty much most stuff that I've got that's already had a run up in price but is less than £500, I'm selling off. So if it's already had a run and there's profit, I'm not selling off stuff under 500 that hasn't run yet. So like Tempora Forces, I bought into cheap for that, but I'm not selling that off because it hasn't got up in price. I gain nothing from selling it. And the reason why I'm selling off this stuff is just so that I can consolidate into bigger, more valuable boxes, because I'm running out of space. I'm very limited on space where I am right now. So everything sort of sub 500 that's already had a bit of a run, I'm selling so that I can condense down loads of ETBs and loads of booster boxes into maybe like 1 or 2 booster boxes, so that I've got more space to buy more product, have more runs, etc. So I'm going to be consolidating down and buying into stuff like Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, maybe even buying another Evolving Skies, just to save space. I'm just, yeah, recalibrating and restructuring a little bit, that's all. Purely for space saving, but everyone's conditions are different. Let's have a look at Twilight Masquerade then. Twilight Masquerade again had a big run up in price like the Paldea Evolved, and is just kind of chilling right near its all-time high. So Paldea Evolved and Twilight Masquerade are in a really good position to have more runs and more upward pressure over the next year. I think they'll both have a really good next 12 months. Let's have a look then. If I didn't need the space, I would keep my Paldea Evolved. And I'm probably going to sell my Twilight positions as well, just because I'm going to put that into like Fusion or Lost Origin or something, just so it takes up much less space, because I believe in them just as much So I don't think that Lost or Fusion are going to go up any quicker than Twilight or Paldea. I think it's going to be similar, but I'd much rather just have it all into like single boxes. Let's have a look then at last week. $278, and this week $280. So it's pretty much had a flat week, Twilight Masquerade. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Like I said, it's just chilling at that all-time high. All-time high is on the average $284. Last sale $280, so it's within $4 of its all-time high. It's basically at all-time high. I think it will have a good year going forward. Last sold in the US $250. Last sale in the UK just a hair under £200. Let's have a look then at Evolving Skies. Evolving Skies is so hard to look at on any chart on like TCG Player because the sales are so infrequent. So we can see since last week on the 26th, we've only had 2 sales. So last week, technically last sale was, well, we've only had 1 sale actually since the 26th. So last week it was at 2.5k. This week it's at 2.5k. I mean, both at all-time highs. The sales volume is just so low. This is what happens when sets reach the dizzying heights of like plus 2k a box. The amount of people that can afford to buy into it and the amount of people also that are willing to sell just comes down and down and down. And it's not that they won't sell. You can list one for 2.5k now and I'm confident that it will sell. But just be aware that when you're tracking prices, there's a lot less sales volume on these higher value boxes. Last sale in the US, this is kind of crazy. $2,655, but they also had to import it from the UK to do that. That's absolutely nuts. And there are so many imports here, and for crazy all-time high prices. So another one, 2.6k from Australia, and then you've got a 1.8k but from Peru. Again, pretty interesting. Personally, I wouldn't buy an Evolving Skies internationally. The last sold domestically, so US to US, this is proper information, 2.1k, which I think is where market should be, if not a little bit undervalued. 2.1k US to US, but then people are willing to pay 1 day later nearly $2,700 and then have it shipped halfway around the world. Absolutely nuts, if you ask me. But we'll keep an eye on Evolving Skies as ever. That's potentially an all-time high, and it's international. If it's not all-time high, it's right up there. Have we seen one go for more than 2,700 or 2,650? Was 2,600 the highest actually? That might be an all-time high. 26.55, and the fact that they had to do that international is kind of crazy. Last sold in the UK, $2,000, from the same seller as well. Very interesting. They're clearly cashing out, and it's the same image as well. Is that just the same sale? Yeah, that might just be the same sale. You know, yeah, it's the same sale. Okay, so they sold that one on the UK, but it's set as international, and that's really interesting that it shows on both markets now. I always thought that if you were selling in the UK, like obviously you can do international shipping, but I always thought if you put it on eBay UK, it would only show on eBay UK as a sale. I didn't realise that it showed on both. So that's really, really interesting. So there you go. That's the highest in both markets. And that's why global markets are so important to look at. And that's why this channel gives you such a unique insight, because we're looking at everything going on around the world. And I know a lot of Pokemon investment YouTubers have spoken out that paying attention to the UK market is not useful for the US because they're completely unrelated markets. Well, how is this unrelated if literally we are selling to your market? Like, then they're linked, aren't they? Like, there's so much international arbitrage going on at the moment, and eBay's just encouraging it. It's happening more and more and more. The international Pokemon markets are starting to merge, and we're going to see it happen more over the next couple of years. I guarantee it. Let's have a look at the big boy then, Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike just holding for the last like month and a half. It's been holding at around about this 750 to 730 range. We're seeing that in the last solds as well. Very close striking distance to its all-time high, which was knocking on the door of $800 as well. I mean, $50 off. That one there, 768, which is the highest we've seen it for a little month or two. Very interesting. Last sold on US eBay, $840. That's so nuts that Fusion Strike is up there at the moment. There's no way that it just sits at $840 and doesn't run to $1,000 within the next couple of months, if not sooner, if not much sooner. It could easily, we could turn around in 2 weeks' time and see a $1,000 Fusion Strike box. I wouldn't even be shocked if we saw that. Last sold in the UK, £526. There's another one here going for $560. Both new listings, so both bought out instantly for those prices. I think they're pretty good deals for that price, especially when you're seeing the Fusion Strike knocking on the door of $900 in the US markets. Lost Origin, I think, is massively underpriced at the moment. Lost Origin is definitely a box that I will look at buying when I'm consolidating everything to store value. So it doesn't take up much room. It's around about that $500 price point. I think that that's a decent buy, and it's actually gone up as well. Sales volume is quite low, but if we look at last week, look, last week here it was going for 540, 500, 550, around about 550 average. Last sale 600, and it's actually jumped from the 31st, so it's jumped from the last sale before it. It's gone from 555 to a sale for 600 there, so potentially around about a 9.5%, just under 10% price rise between the last two sales on TCG Player. We're keeping an eye on it. We're keeping an eye on it, and it's right at that all-time high as well. All-time high on the average is 540. I really like Lost Origin. Obviously, you've got the Giratina chase card carrying the set. 540 last sold on an auction on eBay US, and there's one going on a buy it now there for, again, yesterday, 520. I think that's a decent price. If you can buy in for 520, that's kind of crazy. Definitely a good buy in my opinion if you've got that kind of money to throw around. Me personally, I don't have that much money to throw around. I can't really justify buying a booster box for 550. However, if I'm selling boxes to consolidate it into one, I can. So I can just, without taking any money out of my pocket, sell off a couple of ETBs that take up a lot of space. ETBs take up so much space, it's ridiculous. And where I'm going to be buying more prismatic ETBs as well, I need to have more of a clear out. These ones will probably stay because they're a nice display. I might slowly sell some of them that are a little bit older, like the Brilliant Stars. I'm keeping the Chilling Rain just because I like having that in my collection. The White Flare, that's a long-term just like display piece. Yeah, most of these are like collection pieces. There's a Crown Zenith in there that I want to keep. Got the Walking Weight Temporal Forces there. I really love that. A bit of some Destined Rivals. If I ever increase in price on Darkness Ablaze, I will take profit and go out of that. I got stung on that so badly. I literally bought that Darkness Ablaze ETB years ago, and I bought it like the day before it was reprinted. I think people were dumping it on eBay knowing it was getting reprinted, and I just didn't have that information. So I bought into it. I think I bought into it for like £52, and then it reprinted, and like the next day it was like £35. And then it's taken like years to get to the point where it's like break even. I don't even know what the price is now. I don't track it too often, but I'm pretty sure if I sell it right now, I break even or perhaps lose a little bit after fees. So I may as well just hang on to it. But I'd be happy to get rid of that Darkness Ablaze, to be honest. I'm not too happy with having that in my collection. I'm not too bothered. So there we go. It was a very speculative play back in the past. One of my worst plays that I've made in the hobby. And that's something really important to talk about as well, is so many of these people only talk about their good plays. It's not going to happen. If you're doing this a long time, you're going to make bad plays and you're going to make bad investments, and you're probably going to lose money on some stuff as well. I certainly have. It's not all winning plays. However, the good plays that I've made far outweigh the bad plays and the money that I've lost. I'm way up on everything. So that's something to bear in mind. Sometimes you will lose money in this hobby. It's not all win-win-win. But it's all about just making the educated decisions as much as you can. Let's move on then. Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith is one of my favourite sets. One of the most consistent investments that you can have, because it just steadily comes up in price. Last week we had a flat week. It had no change, which is very unusual for it. But this week it's up about 10%. It's gone from 174 to 190. So it's gone up, what's that? Oh, my brain is not working this morning. 174 to 190 is 16? Yeah, 16. $16 divided by 174. There you go. I said 10%. It's up 9.1%. So where it had a flat week last week, it always averages out to be between like 3 and 4% price rise. So if you average it over the last 2 weeks, it's up 4.5% every week still. And it just keeps doing it. It's such a monster. It just keeps chugging away. I love Crown Zenith. I would buy more Crown Zenith, but again, the Elite Trainer boxes, I don't have the space at the moment. So that's something to bear in mind, maybe if you've got limited space. They were joking about it on another stream. I don't know if you guys watch it. Another investment stream. I won't say their names, but one of the people was saying that they were having the same issue, that they need to start selling things off and buying Evolving Skies boxes because they're running out of space. And the other guy said, oh, that's rich people problems. You know, you haven't got enough space for your Pokemon products. And I thought that was really funny, because that's not rich people problems, because rich people wouldn't have an issue because they'd have the space. They'd have a bigger house. I live in a tiny apartment building, but I'm grateful for everything that I have. Also, as well, something that I don't really talk about that much on the channel is like size of investment. And I'm not going to say exactly how much that I have invested into Pokemon, because that's a very personal thing, and we're all at different levels of finances. But what I wanted to mention is that I've been investing in Pokemon for over 10 years now, and I think that people would be surprised with that time range, the size of my investment. It's probably a lot less than you think it is. And I do hold Evolving Skies boxes and stuff like that. So it's very easy to get caught up in these videos and see people, because there's a lot of people in this hobby that make videos that have displays behind them with tens of thousands of dollars of boxes behind them on the shelves, and they act like it's nothing. And it's very important to realize that you don't have to do that. You don't have to be like that. And that's another reason why I wanted to reduce my display behind me and put more of just like my display. A display is what it should be. It shouldn't be a flex of money. So that's why I did that. And it's very important to realize that. Me personally, I work full-time. I work a full-time job. I don't make much money off of YouTube at all, barely anything. It pretty much just pays for my equipment, to buy like a camera and to buy a microphone and stuff like that. It doesn't allow me to buy sealed product and stuff like that at the moment. Maybe it will do in the future. I work a very modest job. Very close to minimum wage in this country. If you convert it into US dollars, I think a lot of you will be shocked how little money I earn. But I've built a collection up over time. And that's the point I really want to get out to people, is that time is your friend. in this market. Even if I got a question from one of my people in my join club. They asked me, they said, is $500 enough to invest each month to build a collection? Yes, that is more than enough. I don't even put in $500 a month, and I've built up quite a good collection. Obviously, some months I do, but most of the time, if I average it out, I'm not even spending that. I'm probably spending half of that most months. I'm spending more this year than I've ever spent. But anyway, getting sidetracked. Crown Zenith is going up in price. Last sold in the US, 150. There's one for 160. There's one for 177 import from Canada, 175. It's all over the place. You're getting deals now for like 150. Someone got that one bid as well for 150. That's crazy. I mean, that's a good deal when literally the day before it was going for 175. Look, here's one here. On the 1st, going for 209. 209 is the highest I've ever seen it go for. It's kind of crazy. This is what I'm saying, guys. Like, so many people are like waiting on the sidelines. Like, oh, I'll wait for the market to settle down before I buy stuff. Crown Zenith isn't going to get any cheaper. And you can get it for what? That guy saved $20 from 175 to 150. $25. That's crazy. 25 on 175. You could save 11% in like between 3-4 sales in less than 24 hours. We saw it with 151 as well. Someone got a 10% discount on that. There are deals to be had. A lot of people don't know how to operate in the bull market, in this hype market. Like, there are deals to be had everywhere. Even in this stage of the market. This for me is my favourite stage, by the way. There's so many people that are waiting on the sidelines with their cash, waiting for the market to settle down. I love this stage of the market. I buy more in a hype cycle than I do at any other time. I love it. I love operating and buying in hype cycles. Last sale in the UK, look at this, £182. We're nearly at that £200 mark. 161, 177. Absolutely crazy. It's a monster. Astral Radiance dropping in price, slowly dropping down in price from an all-time high, but still not far from its all-time high. Last sale 373, all-time high, what's this, 413 on the average? So it's like 9%, around about 9% from its all-time high, and coming down in price. So when this happens, there's not the demand. There's the supply, but there's not the demand. And that's when you get really good deals on stuff. Out of print, I put Astral Radiance, top 5 sets of Sword and Shield. It's in that top 5. I don't think anyone can argue with that. Top 6. It's like, I put it somewhere between Brilliant, Silver, and Astral. I think they're all very close, those three. And then you've obviously got, yeah, it's top 5. Because top 6. Right. In my opinion, let's do this. This will be fun. Evolving Skies, no one's doubting that. Fusion and Lost, I put similar, but I put Fusion slightly ahead. So Evolving Skies, Fusion, then Lost Origin, then it's hard. The next 3 are so difficult between Astral, Brilliant, and Silver. I'm just going to put them all on an even keel. I know people like Silver and Brilliant a lot more because of their chase cards, but I think Astral deserves to be up there as well. So what I'm trying to say is it's a really good set and it looks really underpriced, and people are dumping it at the moment. Look at this, 350, and I guarantee you'll be able to snipe some good deals on eBay for Astral Radiance at the moment, because people will be panic selling that. Brilliant Stars, chart's broken. Brilliant, has been for about 3 months, but we can look at last sales. Again, sales volume very low. So in the last 7 days, we've seen 1, 2, 3, 5 sales, 5 boxes move, and it's gone from 405 to 407. But the range is huge. It's gone right up to 445, which is an all-time high, but basically a flat week for it. It's chilling. Hasn't really moved in the last 7 days. Silver Tempest, similar, slowly creeping up, but it is at that all-time high. So very, very interesting there for Silver Tempest. Knocking on that door of $400. I do think it will smash through it very soon. We're going to finish off by talking about something a little bit different. We love, at the end of the video, talking about something a little bit different. And I was looking at like last sold sealed product in the US market, and I came across something that I've never seen before. And it's not often that I see sealed products that I've never seen before. It could be because I'm UK based and it's just never came out in the UK. I don't remember ever seeing these in the UK. It might be a North American exclusive, but I'd like to know. Maybe is it a shop exclusive? Did you only get these in like Costco or Sam's Club, or were they everywhere? This Evolving Skies, they've called it a hanger box. A hanger box, and it has 3 packs in it, so it's like half a booster bundle of Evolving Skies. Very peculiar. We definitely don't have these in the EU, or I've never seen them. What is this? I mean, it is incredibly beat up. The seal is broken, but they've said that it's damaged. But look how dirty and horrible it is. It looks like it got kicked along a floor, or like it fell under some shelves and lived there for a few years. You know, you see those videos of people going into like stores and like lifting up the shelves and finding old packs. This is like what this looks like. It looks like it's been kicked around a horrible stockroom floor for years and years. But yeah, 3 packs. It looks like an official product. Yeah, I mean, it's got all the Pokemon Center stuff on the back. Very, very interesting to someone like me, because I love my sealed product and I've never seen that. I've never seen a 3-pack box sealed on a hanger. I mean, technically, is this the prelude to booster bundles? Were booster bundles even a thing in Evolving Skies? I can't even remember. When was the first set that got booster bundles? Because there were definitely booster bundles for like Brilliant Stars and Silver Tempest. I remember seeing them. I don't really remember seeing Evolving Skies booster bundles. Maybe there were, but even if there were, they weren't that many around. Even like Silver Tempest, there weren't that many booster bundles around here in the UK. Is this the OG booster bundle? Am I sounding stupid to US people? Were these just everywhere in the US? We definitely didn't get these in the EU. I'm pretty confident about that. But I just thought it was very, very interesting. Let me know down below, my US people. Is this a common thing? Is this like a fake product? A fake aftermarket product? It looks legit. I mean, that all looks pretty official. Yeah, it says it's got the address for Pokemon Company International. Looks legit. Let me know down below in the comments. I want to know. It's not often I come across sealed product that I've never seen before, especially English product too. And Evolving Skies. Pretty cool. Make sure you subscribe down below to never miss an opportunity. Smash that like button if you got anything from this video. It really does help support me, helps push my videos out there further, costs you nothing. Make sure you have a wonderful day, and peace.